Hey, what's going on, everybody? Shane here for Vulgar Display Gaming, and it's that time of year again. It's the time where I pick my favorite albums of the year, and this year was absolutely incredible. There was a lot of bands I got introduced to for the first time. There's some veteran bands on here that I've known about for a while, and it's a weird, eclectic, list of albums. So let's start it all off with some honorable mentions, and I'm just going to do some quick picks real quick. At number 5, I got Spirit World, Helldorado, killer album. Lonely People with Power, Deafheaven, Testaments, Parabellum, Sabaton, Legends, as well as I interviewed Joachim. You can go check out that interview right now. I'll be down in the links below. And then Warbringer, Wrath and Ruin, and that was one of my favorite sets of the year that we recorded. You can see that full edited set as well. It'll be linked down below. But that was just some quick picks real quick. Now, starting off, this is a band that I've seen smaller venues, and it's absolutely insane. So let's check out number 10. Number 10 is, as you can see, Turnstile with Never Enough. Again, they're going with the weird blank album covers, but, Turnstile, hailing from Baltimore, Maryland, off of Roadrunner Records. This is their 4th album that was released in June. This is Turnstile, Never Enough. I really enjoyed the new Turnstile record, but not as much as Glow On. That said, this is still a solid album, and the band is clearly at the peak of their career right now, and they're just getting bigger. This record isn't as fast and has that hardcore sound as the previous one, but it definitely leans more into a more pop influence sound. But it's a very clean sound, very catchy, but there are still plenty of hardcore elements here. They also released a movie this year that I haven't yet to see, and playing massive sold out shows across the world pretty much. The singer Brendan was also on Elton John's podcast, and Elton John loves Turnstile, which is awesome. They're just getting more and more recognition. But again, I saw them when they were first starting out a very long time ago, playing small, tiny venues, and I got them to sign my Step 2 Rhythm album, which is a killer album. Go check that out. And let's finish it all off. My favorite tracks are Birds and Soul. Moving on to number 9. And as you can see again, it is Castle Rat with the Bestiary. Hailing from New York City, this was released on King Volume Records. I think it's a dual release with Blues Funeral Recordings. This was released in September, so it was definitely one of those late year releases, and I just couldn't stop listening to it, and I already knew this was going to hit my top 10. This is only their 2nd album, and I absolutely love me some fantasy doom, and Castle Rat, again, is back with more lore. They're getting bigger and better every year. The Kickstarter that they did for this album blew past their record. I think they only need like 60 grand. They raised like 120 grand, close to it or something, for this album. But it just shows how dedicated their fan base is. Again, this has killer riffs, killer like doomy fantasy atmosphere. Riley's vocals are really crisp and really killer. This album should be in a Conan movie, I think. And again, I am excited to see their rise and prominence in the metal scene and how big they're going to get. But truly, number 9, Castle Rat, the Bestiaire. And my favorite 2 tracks are Wizard and Serpent. Moving on to number 8, we have Ancient Death with Ego Dissolution. Hailing from Massachusetts on Profound Lore Records. This was released earlier in the year in April, and this is their first debut full length. And it is incredible for a full length. They only formed in 2021, and they're firing on all cylinders. They nailed their brutal vocals, and then they have their bassist Jasmine. She has like these haunting, really soothing vocals that blend really well and add a whole nother layer to the album. There's also like these creepy, slower sections that really help the album breathe, and everything comes together to make a really strong death metal record. Killer riffs, killer fucking vocals, the whole atmospheric tone with this album, and even just this artwork, just reminds me of like some like like the obituary eyes everywhere, something, I don't know. Ego Dissolution. There is no ego with this band, and it is absolutely incredible. I'm definitely looking forward to what they're coming up with next. And my favorite two tracks on the album are Echoing Chambers Within the Dismal Mind, which perfectly showcases the two vocal stylings, and then Violet Light Decays. So again, that was coming at number 8, Ancient Death, Ego Dissolution. Coming in at number 7. We have Propagandhi At Peace, hailing from Canada, off of Epitaph Records. This album was released in May of this year. This is their 8th overall album, full length. Now, as you can see, I didn't have the vinyl. Some of these albums I have the vinyls for, some I don't. And some of them are in the mail, it's a whole thing. But either way, I'm definitely going to get this album on vinyl. I think I ordered it, I'm not sure as of this recording, so I'll see what's going on. But this album, I remember listening to this on the way to going to do the Rip to Shred show, driving up from LA to Palm Springs, and we lost signal, and this album was just on repeat, and I was like, I'm not even tired of it. It's so fucking killer. This album makes me want to break my arm again. See, I broke my arm trying to skateboard, and this whole thing gives off like the Tony Hawk era punk crossover vibes. My buddy turned me on to them a while back, saying, hey, you want to go see this killer band? They're one of my favorites. And I was just like, fuck it, I ain't doing shit. Let's go see them. And they just blew me away. Their energy, the shows are just so incredible. The singer has great fucking... he's a great stage presence. They've been around a while, though, like since 86, and At Peace proves that they still have it. The guitar riffing is great. There are tons of tempo changes and the lyrics. They're fucking killer. It's like all anti-government, anti-racist, going over all the state of society as it is, and I can't agree more with the record. My two favorite tracks off the record are Cat Guy and Guiding Lights, so definitely check those out. Again, coming in at number 7 is Propagandhi At Peace. Moving on to number 6. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only one. We have Drain Is Your Friend. Hailing from Santa Cruz, California, off of Epitaph Records. This was released in November later this in the year. This is their 3rd full-length album, and I've loved Drain ever since the first time I saw them at Psycho Las Vegas. This album, honestly, again, feels like it should have been on a Tony Hawk soundtrack back in the day. Definitely gives me some old school Blink-182 energy on the tracks, especially Who's Having Fun. It's a very clean vocal track, but it's just a fun kind of pop punk song. I really dig it, though. Whenever Drain plays live, they basically have in their banner, it says, we got 30 minutes, we're not responsible for what happens in this 30 minutes, and it goes to show the stage diving, the singer's fucking out there in the crowd. It's fucking incredible. This album, I love it, and I dug it because they were more metallic this time around, like more metal. There's a lot more cohesive sound to it, a lot more killer solos, fast, catchy tracks all the way through. And also, shout out to James Wasema for doing this artwork. Killer fucking artwork, by the way. Look at those guys on the back. They definitely are some skater dudes from Santa Cruz. But it's one of the best crossover bands to come out right now. Again, if you have a chance to see Drain, don't sleep on them. My two favorite tracks off the record are Loudest in the Room and Until Next Time. So that is coming at number 6. Drain Is Your Friend. At number 5, we have... Hooded Menace, as you can see from that little clip right there. It's a killer fucking album. This is Lachrymose Monuments of Obscuration. Again, don't have the album. I definitely ordered this one, though. Hailing from Finland, this was released on Seasons of Mist. Came out in October. and this is their sixth full-length album. This album easily wins the longest and most confusing title of the year for me, but beyond that, it absolutely rips. This record gives me everything I want from a Hooded Menace release. Doomy, catchy, faster riffs with those signature crushing vocals. The album flows incredibly well, and honestly, this might be my favorite Hooded Menace release. There's even like a lot of old school 80s style riffing on this because they covered a Duran Duran song, so they were obviously listening to some catchy 80s stuff right there. But you get all of their all the influences they have in this record, and you can tell each track just is incredible. I love the slow, again, crushing riffs, and then there's a lot more catchier riffs too, like 80s style traditional heavy metal going on there. But I can't recommend it enough. My favorite tracks off the record are I got it written down right here because I can't pronounce it. Lugubrious Dance and Daughters of Lingering Pain. And that was number 5, Hooded Menace, Lachrymose, Monuments of Obscuration. Coming in at number 4, we have this. Let me forget you. Killer band that I have the pleasure of interviewing once a year. It says Health Conflict DLC, hailing from Los Angeles, California, off of Loma Vista Records, Loma Vista Recordings. This came out December 11th. I'm still waiting on my vinyl I had pre-ordered, and this is their 5th overall full length. Now, I had the pleasure of talking with Johnny Health, the bassist of Health, again a few weeks ago, and he gave me an advanced copy of the album to review and listen to. Fortunately, I didn't get a review out. I've been too busy, but I listened to that fucking album nonstop. This was about like I was listening to it at least daily for the past month, and I can confidently say this is their heaviest and best sounding record yet. I really dug the overall tone and atmosphere of this album. They worked again. They had, go watch the interview I did with Johnny, because he even talks about it, where he just called up Willie and, he helped him write a bunch of fucking riffs, did some riffs for him, actually, Willie Adler from Lamb of God. And they had some other help, a bunch of artists come and help out. They did a bunch of remixes, they're coming out. But the album flows perfectly between aggressive tracks and these trance-like soothing moments, especially with like Jake's vocals, the singer. This entire album is an experience. It's definitely one that some tracks, there's like 2 pop tracks on there, and they sound like they should be in a movie. Antidote is being one of them. Absolutely killer track that you get lost in. This entire album, I really just got lost, and you imagine yourself living out a movie, basically, because there's so many elements to this, and especially I was getting some like Rammstein fucking vibes on some of these riffs. My favorite 2 tracks are Shred Envy. That's the track that really had this like, the industrial Rammstein kind of guitar stylings, and then you had Vibe Cop, which is another killer track. Again, that was number 4, Health with Conflict DLC. Now we're going up to the top 3, and this is the first one. Tribunal, Impenitence, and Ruin, coming in at number 3. Hailing from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, we have this album off of released on 20 Bucks Spin in April. This is their 2nd full-length album. Now, Tribunal is a killer like gothic doom band. This is being their only 2nd full-length album. It rips. Like, this album made me want to hang out in a graveyard and light up candles and just listen to it front to back. The way it blends itself with like haunting clean vocals, and you have like slow guttural death metal vocals on it, and then these crushing riffs combined with like a cello. It's an incredibly creepy album, but it's beautiful the same way. It just adds another layer of doom and gloom, especially with like any kind of I guess string wind instruments. The cello just it's a haunting factor that leads to a very atmospheric album. And then there's also some fast double bass parts with the slower riffing over it. Holy shit. This album is just so unique for a gothic like doom album, and it's absolute killer. My two favorite tracks off the album are Incarnadine. It's the first track of the album. And then the Sword of the Slain. Again, number 3, Tribunal in Penitence and Ruin. Definitely do not sleep on this band. Now we're coming up to the top 2, and I have to say this was very tough. I was going in and out with putting these at number 1 and 2. But I have to say again, sticking with the theme is we have Evoken with Mendicium. Hailing from New Jersey, this was released on Profound Lore Records. This came out in October. This is their 6th full-length album. This album is creepy, atmospheric, and honestly, it makes me question your sanity while listening to it in the best kind of way possible, though. Mendicium feels right at home in like a Hellraiser movie. Slow crushing riffs paired with deep guttural vocals with also some like spoken word stuff. It's very creepy. Again, I can't atmospheric, meaning the ambiance behind this record. It's incredible. The songs are long, but they're never boring. There's a lot of depth there. You have faster riffing, drumming, excellent keyboard work. This album is absolutely meant to be listened to in one sitting. And I have to say, it's an incredible record. You take your time and you enjoy listening to, and I can't wait. I hope I could see them live. Again, this was a band I've never seen live, and I'm really looking forward to it when they come out my way. And my favorite 2 tracks off them are Sext and Compline. So again, Evoken, Mendicium, number 2. And for number 1, we have at number 1, as you saw, Messa with The Spin. Hailing from Italy, this was released on Metal Blade Records. This came out in April. This is their 4th full-length album. And to me, this is a flawless record. I could not stop listening to The Spin. It blends doom, prog, blues, goth, some black metal elements. It just all comes together seamlessly. And Sarah, the singer, her vocals are incredible, and they pair so well with these songs. Like, she knows how to use her voice when she was listening to these tracks that were thrown down, and just it's incredible. From slow crushing doomy riffs to like these upbeat, catchy, twangy tracks with huge hooks. The album does it all. I mean, the opening track, Void Meridian, opens with like this incredible 80s goth like riff, which is fucking rips. And then you have the track Reveal, starts with this southern twangy blues intro, then before exploding into a really catchy, like heavy riff with these blast beats paired with them. I couldn't get enough of this album. The Spin is one of those albums where I think it sounds like it's an ambitious record with all these different blendings of styles of music, but overall this just comes together. And I have to say, if there's one album from this list that you absolutely need to listen to, it is The Spin by Messa. And my favorite 2 tracks off the album were Reveal and The Dress. The Dress is a very long track, but it's got these jazzy elements too. There's a lot of like kind of jazz stuff in here, and it's awesome. So again, I'm going to close out by saying thank you for watching this. Thank you for supporting me this year. If this is the first time you see any of my content, we record and live stream bands. I do interviews. I do all sorts of stuff. I appreciate you stopping by and checking this out. Let me know your top albums of the year. And there's a playlist with all the music videos from these bands. And I hope you go check out each one of these bands and recommend me some bands. What were your favorite albums of the year? Until next time, my friends, take it easy and stay heavy. Later.